What's up, guys? My name is Khan, and we're back today with more Railroads Online, and today we are going to do a little bit more track maintenance at the freight depot. We've got our 3 engines here, no problem. I got Betsy back on the main line, and we've got a little bit of an issue because, as you can see way over there, I have nowhere to park this train. We could break this train up and put it into these slots here. These are 10-car lanes that we built in the first Shunt episode, but unfortunately this one's a 12-car train, and I'm really getting tired of having to break it up every time, split it into 2 different halves, and store it in 2 different lanes. So I want to build some longer shunt lanes for storing longer trains. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the music I'm actually using. The devs have given me permission to use their original soundtrack. Super excited about that. I usually enjoy using the original soundtrack for games when I'm allowed to. Take a look at the link in the description. I'll include it. The dev who made all the music for the game actually has a YouTube channel where he talks about making the music and composing it and all that. So it's definitely worth checking out if you're interested, and I will, of course, include the link in the description. So what I want to do is build some really, really long shunt lanes here and just sort of maximize them as much as possible. This yard here is a 5-lane shunt yard where they're all identical lengths. You'll notice they're all, they're staggered diagonally, and the entrances are diagonal this way and the exits are diagonal in the same way, so each lane is always the exact same length. Over here, I want to build what's called, I believe, a bow yard. So I want to make a switch that comes off this line here and goes completely straight, and then duplicate this giant straight piece here a bunch of times next to it. But each lane is going to get a little bit smaller because they're going to come out and then they're going to go back in at the end there right before the other side. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. Hopefully this means we'll get some longer, well, we'll definitely get some longer lanes. Might only get 3 or 4 of them. I don't necessarily want to build them all the way up to the freight depot, although we could just build them all the way up here and then have a second side to unload on, but it doesn't really matter. But I think we're just going to build them probably up to here for now and see what happens. But we're going to do the same technique we did before, and I'm going to build them all with just the crossover pieces and the switch pieces. And again, I'm going to do that just because I don't have to build foundation. I know you can build completely straight lines without using crossover pieces. You can just put one crossover piece down and stretch across it. But then you still need foundation before you place everything. So I want to do all the foundation last. Just makes our job easier. So first thing we're going to do is just demolish some stuff. You'll notice this is cool too. They did update the game. They added a filter tool on the demolish. So I can actually click demolish rails. And now I won't accidentally delete anything but the rails. I think that's the switch. Perfect. So we're just going to clear this back like that a little bit. And this is going to be our switch back on to the track. It's going to be right here. We could build it into this corner if we wanted to, but that's a little bit more difficult. So we're going to just put it here. So this will be the switch back on, something like that. And then, all our trains will come back in. So of course, if you need fuel or whatever, or water, you're going to have to take this inside lane, but we'll be able to store a bunch of trains. Hopefully that's long enough. I feel like this is long enough, right? From here all the way to the end down there. It should be long enough, I guess. So anyway, that'll be the first step. And then, of course, we do the same thing we did before. We're going to go switch right. So that'll be 1. Switch right here. That'll be 2. And switch right. That'll be 3, 4. Right? I think that'll be good enough. Yeah, and then we can leave this extra space here in case we at some point want to, make some extra lane or something for this side of the freight depot. To be honest, I don't know if I'm ever going to have 2 sides to unload the freight depot. It seems to work pretty well with a single through line, and even if we were running multiple trains with multiple people, I mean, you just wait. One guy unloads, it doesn't take that long to unload, and then the next guy just comes in behind him, and it just sort of keeps everything organized. Now we gotta somehow rework this whole curve, which I'm really not looking forward to doing, but anyway, we gotta clear this back, just a bunch. I think this is straight enough over here, so we'll leave that like that. And then we gotta do some fancy switch magic to try and reverse this switch. But I mean, judging from that lane there versus this one, I think this is gonna be more than enough to store all the cars we need. So we're gonna have to reverse. Trying to think of how to do this. I think I gotta go like this, and then if I put a piece here, and then if I delete this and put the switch back, this isn't gonna be symmetrical, right? I gotta do that flip trick. Yeah, I gotta do the crazy flip trick. Okay. All right, so let's see. We got to go out first, and then we got to go piece there, and then we delete this, and then we go to the right like that, and then we delete this, like, well, we put that there, and then we delete this, and then we go straight across this way, right? And then we put this here, and then we delete that, and delete this, and then we go across with a switch left. Perfect. So that's the switch trick. I feel like we should come back a little bit more. So let's actually move this back one extra straight piece, and then do the same thing. So let's take this, go back again. Perfect. And I'll show you guys again. It's a pretty cool trick. It's pretty simple. It's a straight piece again, and then we go, oops, no, we don't do that. We go straight piece into a crossover piece. We flip this straight switch around in the direction we want to go, like that, and then we put another crossover piece here, like so. Delete that, flip it back. Perfect. And then we put another one here, and clear out this. And this should be absolutely perfect. We're going to go switch left with that side. Excellent. Perfect. Delete this, and put down a rail connecting. Awesome. Excellent. Gonna have to redo the foundation here a little bit, but we can easily curve that nicely to fit that. We could honestly... I feel like we could honestly come back one more. I want to maximize the distance on the... Okay, let's go back another one. All right, perfect. This looks way better. Closer to the edge of the foundation here, so we'll clear out all these crossover pieces and link that track up if it'll... There we go. Grab this. Perfect. Excellent. All right, and then we just got to go out the same number of switches. So switch left and switch left. I really like building shunt yards this way. I find it so much easier just when you can actually link stuff. And then, of course, it all stays at the exact same height. It would be cool if there was a way you could place, like, the regular rail. So see, look, if I try and place this without a foundation, it's going to dip down. But it would be kind of cool if there was, like, maybe a button I could press or something that keeps it at the same height and lets me place it invisibly. I know it's not exactly realistic, but, like, you know, places it on an invisible foundation so I can come back in and do the foundation after the fact. I always find with the foundations, now, mind you, with the Demolish tool, we can actually filter for just groundwork and delete only the foundations, so that's kind of nice. But I always find with the foundations, I like having them as centered on the rail as possible, and in order to do that, I usually place the foundation after the fact, and it kind of makes things easier. So we're going to put another switch here just so we can judge the curve. You'll notice this, wow, it gets it gets really, really tight here. At this final one is actually going to be a smaller yard, I think, than the other shunt yard we've got. Like, if we go here, hold on. Oh, okay, I want one too many switches on this side. See, this final lane here, if we look, we could keep going all the way out. But then this lane here would be very, very short. Like, let's see, if we put another switch on this side, look at that. Look at this is the final lane. It would be just literally this tiny little thing, which obviously I don't think we're gonna need that. So we're gonna cut these two switches out. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes plus the main line, so 5 lanes. That's not bad. That'll be the same thing as we got over there, except this inside lane obviously is going to be huge. You can see it's pretty much the whole distance, and then it'll be slightly smaller, slightly smaller, slightly smaller. And when we get to this outer lane, it'll be the smallest, but this outer lane is actually pretty good because, see, we've got that small train of only 4 iron cars, and I don't think we're ever going to go really much bigger than 4 because it's 10 iron per. Or maybe we'll go up to 5 or 6. But even then, we could store smaller trains like that on this outer lane and then go back and store bigger trains in the inner lanes or, 10-car trains over there. So just more shunt space. It's really good. Eventually, I do want to have a shunt yard at the, what's it called there? The sawmill. And possibly the logging camp, but most likely just the sawmill because I feel like it would be nice to store the raw log cars at the sawmill. And then you could just, take those log cars when you need them, bring them up, bring them back with logs to the sawmill, drop them off there, leave them there, and then grab plank cars at the sawmill and go wherever you need to go. And you'd never have to come back to here to ever do anything, which means, of course, we need a fuel depot there as well and that sort of thing. But, future plans. Not too worried about it right now, but eventually we'll get to that point. Can I link this? Perfect. So that would be the first lane. That's not bad. I think that's, you know, that's the shortest lane. That's still going to store a lot of stuff, to be perfectly honest. All right, so now let's do the next one. I think at some point in time, though, I am going to have to go and completely rework the sawmill track. The loop at the sawmill is pretty bad, to be honest, and it needs to be fixed. It needs a place where you can drop off the logs without blocking the main line to the smelter. Right now, the only way to get to the smelter and the iron mine on this map is through the sawmill, which is fine, and eventually I'd probably want some alternate routes, but it should have a direct line that bypasses the sawmill, so you don't have to wait for people to, you know, finish loading, unloading, and whatever. You should be able to just skip all that, go straight to the smelter. At some point in time, I am going to populate this server and have more people running trains on it at the same time, but first, you know, need some tracks set up. So there we go. This one actually will just cap here. Perfect, like that. Excellent. That's lane number 2, getting a little bit larger. Nice little yard here. This actually looks really, really good. I'm pretty happy with this. It's gonna look sick once we've got this here. And then I think at some point I'm probably gonna make a lane coming through here. I know there's the oil. I think that way is the oil. So we are gonna have a main line that goes out in that direction. You can see there's a little bit of a hill here too. So we don't have too much room to expand further that way, but we'll see. I think what I need to do, though, after this episode is really get more money. I rebuilt my engine after last episode. We crashed everything. It kind of sucked, so I went back to an old save, rebought the engine, renamed it, put it over there on the line with the other engines. But I think I want to run some more trains, make a ton of money. And everyone's been saying to get one of the 2 gear engines, so I think that's what we're going to have to do. If you guys look, the gear engines are actually these guys here. The Hessler and the Climax. You'll notice they have 2 sort of bogies. They don't have like the big center wheels. They've got these like 2 bogies that are powered, and they've got like a gearing system to do that. I actually built one of these in Scrap Mechanic a long time ago, which was kind of cool. But yeah, I want to buy one of these. I don't exactly know which one. I feel like the Hessler, yeah, the Hessler's way more powerful. I know I buy engines by the you know, the price, but to be honest, I really want some high-performing engines so we can start running some iron trains and making some serious cash. We are lacking the cash. The smelter is like good to go. It's had cordwood for like 2 years now, and we just need to get iron there. So I need a train that can make it up the death run to the iron mine, and I think one of those gear trains is going to do it. So I might skip the order a little bit and get one of those next, but of course, going to need to run some freaking plank cars to make some money to get there. So, you know, that'll happen eventually. That's, you know, future plan. I got a lot of plans, guys. I got a lot of stuff we need to do, but obviously storage space is sort of critical. We needed some storage space badly, and, you know, longer train storage space. And then, of course, can't wait to actually build some better stuff at the sawmill. So we'll see what happens in the next few episodes. It's going to be exciting. And then I got to get guys like Dapper. And once I get the iron mine run really, really clean, I want to invite Dapper in just to help me run planks. Like if we can run 2 trains at the same time all the way up to the iron mine, we can get that iron mine full, because it stores like 300 iron or something, or like 290. And, you know, it takes 1 plank and 1 beam to make 1 iron. So we need to run some crazy trains up to the iron mine to actually, you know, completely fill it. So I'm gonna have to get some of that going. But of course, we need engines that are capable of it. So if I find that the 1 gear engine can do it, I'm gonna have to buy like 2 or 3 of them, and that way we can run tons of trains all at the same time. All right, on to the last lane. Just gotta place these guys down, and then of course we gotta delete it all and redo it. I know this is a really tedious way to do it. I've also had a lot of people say, well, why don't you use switches to do this? Because switches are obviously longer and straighter. The issue is pretty simple. When you go to delete them, you can't stretch 1 piece of track across the distance of a switch and have it linked to both sides. You can only do that with these crossover pieces. 1 piece of track will stretch across the distance of 2 crossover pieces. So you have to sort of use these. You can't really use switches, which is unfortunate. But like I said, it would be cool if I could do this without having to place foundation and just use the Alt key and then have a rail piece that just extends kind of invisibly across the air. I understand why they didn't do it. Obviously, the rail pieces, when you're clicking them, they just, you know, they link to whatever piece of terrain. So you could build an entire railroad without any foundation if you wanted. You know, just go up and down over the terrain and whatever else. I don't know how well it would work, but you could definitely do that. So, you know, that's sort of, I guess, the reason that they have this. Like, you know, we could just literally build across the ground if we wanted to. All right, this inside lane is going to be awesome. I think this inside lane is going to be probably 20 cars easily that we could hold. And I think that's going to be just absolutely perfect. So let's just finish this last piece up. And then I got to go and delete all the other stuff. And then we can make some money. Actually, we can park this train and then make some money. So there we go. We'll link that up. We got to fix this hole here. So we'll link that as well. Perfect. And now we can start deleting this and clearing it up. So we'll delete 2 at a time. And then link. And see, this will float because it's linked to linking. So it'll stay floating above the ground, which is perfect. That's exactly why I build them this way. So here we go. Like that. Link. Done. Next, and continue. All right, and the last piece on this inside line. Perfect. That looks really, really good. I like that. Like that a lot. That's a really long lane, too. There's no way that's not going to hold all 12 of those cars. All right, next line over. This one's going to be an interesting shunt yard because that one is really easy. I know if I have 10 cars, I can store 10 cars in one of these lanes. If I have more than 10 cars, I can split it up. I'm going to actually have to try and measure, I guess, these ones and figure out exactly what the lane capacity is, because this first lane is going to be probably like 20 or, you know, maybe 20 cars. Looks like it might be 20 cars. And then the next one over will probably be like, I don't know, like 10, 12, something like that. And they're going to shrink pretty quickly. I'm not too worried though. Like, again, we're going to have just tons of space for storing stuff. And this is going to actually help a lot too, because if someone is, you know, let's say filling up with fuel or whatever on the inside lane, we could just bypass them completely and drive around through one of these shunt lanes. So that's kind of nice. Just gives us more options for, you know, how we can manage our trains at the freight depot here. But I think this will probably be the last shunt yard I build here for a while anyway, because the next shunt yard I'm going to need at an actual location. I think this will be more than enough for storing the trains we have here, especially because we're not even into the advanced industries yet. Like, maybe once we get into the oil industries and stuff like that, and goods and have box cars and stuff, then maybe we'll need more space. But for now, this is pretty much going to be more than enough, I think, for storing all of our cars. And right now, I'm still sort of going with the policy of store all the cars at the freight depot, which obviously is pretty stupid. You know, there's no reason to store iron cars here. They should be stored at the smelter, because we're literally never going to bring iron cars all the way back here. So, you know, the smelter's going to need a little shunt yard, not necessarily a big one. The sawmill need a little shunt yard. I'm assuming other industries as well. I'm not going to put one at the iron mine, because screw the iron mine. It's such a pain in the butt. But, you know, we'll see. Definitely going to try and probably save up here, I think, and get one of the better trains, though. I think gear train is definitely needed. You know, I also need to work on an alternate route to get to the iron mine. I was thinking about it a lot, and I think maybe if we made a, like, complete loop track that comes back the other way on the other side of the mountain, maybe that'll be a little bit less graded, and it'll be a little easier for us to get there, and we can come back, because the iron mine itself is sort of up in the mountains. Like, the 6% line that I've made to go there, it only really goes up. And when you're coming back, it's mostly going down, which is going to be really easy for, like, any train to do. But it's just getting up there, which is the pain in the butt. So definitely gonna have to make like a loop or something for that. We'll see. We'll have to figure it out. But I think a gear train is probably the next best thing that we're gonna need here. I think those trains, everyone's been telling me in the comments, every time I do an episode with a new engine, I'm like, listen guys, we're doing it with the cheapest price, and everyone's like, dude, just jump ahead, get a gear. Like, a gear train is what you need. So that's what I think we're gonna have to do. All right, last lane. This one's actually really short. It's crazy how short this gets when you do these bow yards, but that's okay. This will be perfect for storing that iron train. I'm definitely going to put the 4 iron cars in this tiny lane out here because, I mean, for now anyway, until we move them, but it's a good spot for them. All right, perfect. This looks fantastic. Nice and clean. So we got 4 extra shunt lanes here now. Wow, these are actually perfect. I think this middle one could probably store 12 as well. Maybe this one... Probably not on this one. This one maybe 10. I don't know. We'll have to pull the train up on the main line next to it and see what it looks like. So now we only have to do all the foundation work. So that's the next piece. And then we got to, of course, connect this turn up. So I like doing the foundation this way. I'm sure there's a million ways to do it. I usually start right here in the middle. And then I go straight across just along these. And I do the outer line first. Because then every other line, you're just sort of filling in the middle. It's not really a big deal. But I go straight along this outer line. to like the curve point. We are going to delete this switch at some point. There we go. And then, okay, that looks weird. It's fine. And then just kind of keep it in the middle of the track. Like this. Perfect. And make sure it doesn't link. If it links, it'll like bring the foundation up because it tries to link it to the track height, which obviously the track is higher than the foundation. So you just got to keep clicking along right in the center of the track. And again, for the outer foundation first, I find it's easiest because then you can just, you know, fill in all the inside after the fact. And when I fill it in, I do something a little bit special because the foundation, when it's overlapping itself, kind of sometimes does this weird like texture glitch. It's not really a glitch, it's just overlapping textures, so it looks really kind of, although maybe it's better now. Okay, it doesn't do it here. See, that's pretty good. But sometimes you get the texture like flashing back and forth, so all I do is I just adjust the height of the foundation just the tiniest little bit, and then it gets rid of that, and you're perfect and good to go. But perfect, so we got that outer lane, and then we just gotta draw all the inner line foundations, and then delete some oh, what the, see, look at this. What is this nonsense? What the heck happened here? Yeah, no, you weren't, what the, okay, well that's great. Let's clean that up. All right, so here you can see we've got that flashing texture going on because the foundation is perfectly overlapped at the exact same height. So all I do is just go down like the slightest little bit, 0.25 degree, boom, done. Can't even tell. Looks great. All right, that looks good, I think. Good enough. A little bit weirdly sloped in. I might fix that later, but it's good enough for now. Then we gotta do the same thing on this side. I honestly wish there was a way to, I guess you could use the Alt key and make it perfect, but I honestly wish there was a way to just do like a perfect switch curve, but of course it doesn't really matter. Do we have a weird, oh my goodness, what happened here too? Look at this stuff. That is a weird piece of foundation. All right, we gotta fix that as well. Not a big deal. All right, that should be good enough, I think. Looks pretty good, to be honest. I think that'll be fine. And then we just need to put all the foundation in the middle. And I actually kind of do this in a really interesting way, which I think is all right. So I take this piece, I demolish it. I guess I can demolish all these switches. It doesn't really matter. We can replace them all. And we just got to do this on one side. And then I grab the foundation groundwork like so and just sort of stretch it straight across. Now, of course, we're going to have the issue. See how that's all like glitchy texture? So I grab a little piece first, just a tiny little piece, bring it down just by a little bit so it gets rid of the glitchiness, and then make it flat, and then go straight across this way. And now it's slightly lower than all the foundation pieces around it, but you can't really tell. It's almost basically perfect. And then we just go straight across with this, and it'll be perfectly wonderful. And then we go back and delete that tiny little piece at the very beginning. And then for the next one over, same thing. We can bring it up. And you just kind of alternate them. So I go, this one's lower, the next one's higher up, and then lower, and then higher up. And it looks perfect to your eye, but in reality, it's slightly different heights. But it doesn't make the weird glitchiness. See, look, that looks almost perfect, but it's actually off by like the slightest little bit. I kind of wish they would fix that so that two overlapping textures didn't have that weird pulsing thing. Only because it kind of like hurts my eyes, to be perfectly honest. When you're looking at it, it's like you see this like weird twitching, blinking thing going on. It's not really a huge deal. You just gotta work around it, but it would be nice to be able to build stuff completely flat without having to worry about the texture overlapping. All right, delete that. Excellent. And that, perfect. Apparently I deleted it too far back. That's okay though. We'll grab this here, just, you know, fill that in, whatever. It's good, excellent. Perfect, looks great. Okay, then we gotta put our switches back and then relink our last little piece. So these were all switch left. And we gotta link that piece too, actually, now that I think about it. So we gotta go like this. Perfect. Excellent. And one more over here. Perfect. Now I should remake this curb so it doesn't accidentally screw up, because generally speaking, I don't trust these, I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but I don't trust the links to actually stay, so I like to do this and just delete the one piece in front of each switch, because, I mean, we're replacing the switch, but the switch doesn't actually, like, have that link icon on the opposite ends, you know what I mean? It's only linking on the one end, so I like to do this just in case, and just redo this last piece of rail, just in case, for whatever reason, you know, it causes a yeet section where maybe where the switch is not linked but should be linked, it yeets, you know? I just don't trust it, so I always just relink these. Not an issue. Perfect, good enough. All right, then we just gotta do the final turn over on the other end. And then we should be good to go. We'll park some trains in this thing. All right. I think this is perfect. I adjusted the foundation a little bit too, just because it was going to bother me anyway. No, to be honest, I accidentally deleted it because I had this set to all. And then, yeah. So I just fixed it. Look at that. Looks pretty. A little bit of a kink here, but you know what? That's not going to be the end of the world. All right, let's go get these cars hooked up. Let's get Betsy, pull them in. Let's see. We can put I guess we can just put it in this lane. We're going to put it in the second lane here. Perfect. So we'll go over and flick the switch on the other side and store them in this lane for now. And then we'll be able to use that, I guess, as a judge to see how long these other lanes are. But I definitely want to store these 12 cars in this lane and use them as a storage space. We're going to have to move those 4 over as well at some point. But man, this looks super cool. I love these yards. And next to that other yard over there, this is actually starting to look more and more like a shunt area every day. It's fantastic. That outside one, though, holy cow, it's tiny. Look at this thing. It's the tiniest little line ever. You can store like 3 cars in it. That's it. Well, maybe 4. It'll be fine. That'll be perfect. Betsy's probably dead on everything, right? There's probably no fuel, no boiler pressure, I would imagine. Well, let's throw some fuel in anyway. Here we go. All right. What do we got for boiler pressure? Yeah, 35 boiler pressure. Oh, my God. All right. Well, we're just going to wait. Wait a minute. Betsy's the wrong way here. If I back out on the track, I gotta turn Betsy around. Shoot, that's a pain in the butt. Betsy's actually the wrong way. It's gotta be turned around to be going, okay, that's fine. We just have to push everything, actually. We gotta push it all, and then once it's pushed into the lane, then we can stop. Is that, no, that's gonna be a pain in the butt. All right, let's just bring Betsy back to the turntable, flip it around 180 degrees. That would be the real way to do it. Or we could just re-rail it. Yeah, I'm just gonna, shh. This didn't happen. You didn't see it. You never saw anything. Wow, magically. There was a bunch of dudes came along. There were like 12 dudes, and they all just grabbed a corner of Betsy, lifted it up, and turned it around. That's what just happened. It wasn't me, I swear. All right, we're building boiler pressure now. Water's at max. We should be good. Get moving. Got no weight on this thing anyway. The reason we have to be this way is we got to go out straight, and then we got to back in down the line. Like, normally this is a turnaround line, so normally we would be coming in this way, the way Betsy was, and then we're driving through, but right now the line is blocked, so we need to back in, get to the front of those cars, and pull them out. It's going to be interesting now, too, when you come and fill with fuel, there's going to be, like, cars parked right next to the fuel line, but that's okay. This is it's not supposed to be a high-speed area. You got to be going nice and slow when you're in here. So there shouldn't be any reason that you'll, accidentally have collisions or whatever. Now, all these cars should have their brakes on. I always store all the cars with their brakes on just to prevent them from driving away. So Betsy should just be able to kind of hit this. Actually, let's just turn the reg off completely. There we go. A little coast in. And it should just coast right it. Okay. Yeah, no, that was a little aggressive there, Betsy, but that's fine. I think we're good. Everything's still on the track, right? Yep. Okay. Then we'll just open this up. Get all these brakes set to 0. Let's go, Betsy. Pull away. Fantastic. Excellent. I really hope these lanes are big enough. If these lanes aren't big enough for 12 cars, I don't know what to do. Because 12 cars, I think, is going to be the longest train. Ideally, I need 2 lanes that can hold 12 cars each to run planks all the way up to the iron mine, because 12-car trains to the iron mine are like the perfect number to get 24 beams and 24 planks all at the same time. But that being said, like, I am going to put 12-car shunt lanes over by the sawmill, because that's ideally where we're going to store them anyway. So if I only have 1 lane here that can hold 12, then I only have 1 lane here that can hold 12, but I think this will hold 12. Oh boy, it looks smaller when I get closer to it. Maybe, I don't know. We're gonna find out. We're just coasting in right now. Either way, it is cool to have more shunt yards. I'm not mad about having extra shunting space. It definitely would be nicer though if we could store big trains. I didn't realize how short this distance was. It's actually kind of insane. The only way we could make these a little bit longer is if we had the switch on that curve, but then we'd have to do like a curve and curve. It would be a little bit more difficult to set up. Oh no, we got tons of space. We're not even anywhere close. Holy cow, all 12 cars are already in the lane and we still have like half the lane to go. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, we could store 12 cars probably in the 3rd lane. Hold on, let's stop right here. This would be if it was a third lane. Maybe we'd have to go a little bit further back. Could we store, we could almost store 12 cars in the third lane. So you could probably store 10 in the third lane easily. And then 12 and 12, well, like 16 and 12. Oh, this is great. This will be perfect. We can actually store a couple different things here. There we go. So let's just bring this forward. And then slam on the brakes. Let's do a quick check on the distance. Oh, this is great. Yeah, easily you can store probably 20 in this first lane. Maybe 20? We got, I mean, how much space do we have on the back? Let's go take a look. But I would think probably, wait, oh wait, this is 12. No, we couldn't store another 8. So probably like 15 in the first lane, maybe? Could definitely store another 2 in the front, 2 in the back, 16, 17, something like that. And then easily we could get 12 in the second lane as well. So that's perfect. We could have 2 lanes storing 12. The third lane, well, the third lane, you got room here. That's good. You can't go too close to where the tracks are close together, right? Because then obviously the edges of one car will hit the edge of the other. So this is probably as safe as I would feel going back would be where we're at now. So maybe only 10 cars. Yeah, 10 cars in the third lane. And then the last lane would be like maybe 5 or 6. Probably 6 or 7. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe even 8. Maybe if we're lucky. But definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm really happy to have another shunt lane. I needed it. I was tired of having to keep breaking this train up into 2 chunks every time I wanted to store it somewhere. It was really a pain in the butt because I'd go run logs and I'd be running planks to make money and then I'd go run logs. And when I go to run the logs, it would just, you know, I'd have to store this train and I'd have to break into 2 sections and put the brakes on half the section, unhitch it, and then rehitch it all back. It was just a pain in the butt. So it's definitely nice to have some bigger areas to store bigger trains. And this one is a nice little bow yard. You know, you got different lengths of track, but it's good. It's perfect. It'll be fine. And I think this is all the storage we're gonna need at the freight depot for now until we get to bigger and more advanced industries. And then we'll have to look at shunt yards in other areas and stuff like that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure, of course, you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.